Why do you see the speck? And it comes right on the heels of what we just read. Judge not lest ye be judged, for in the measure that you're judging, you're going to be judged, right? All of that. Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your neighbor, let me take the speck out of your eye, while the log is in your own? You hypocrite. First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. Right? It's a famous picture, a famous word picture of Jesus. And I have pictured his audience laughing. Most of us are familiar enough with it that we can't imagine hearing it for the first time. But I imagine his initial audiences laughed at this specter of a person trying to take a plank, see right through a plank to a little sliver in the other person's eye. So I think it had humorous edge, but I want to notice something about it. Is judgment forbidden here? Take a look and think about it for a second. Is Jesus forbidding judgment if we take the parable seriously? Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your neighbor, let me take the speck out of your eye, while the log is in your own? You hypocrite. First, take the log out of your own eye. Then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. It's an interesting reality or an interesting point that Jesus at the end says, once you have done this self-examination, once you have noticed the log in your own eye and taken it out, noticed the thing that you have that is glaringly wrong or out of place or sinful or whatever it is, you will be able to see clearly to help your neighbor. And by the way, the word here is brother or sister, right? The family language we lose in this translation, it's NRSV, and we lose the family language, which is a cost here, and we'll come back to why. But Jesus doesn't say, take the log out and be done with it. He says, take the log out, and then you'll be able to help your neighbor get the speck out, right? Those are two different things. And so Jesus says that self-examination and the repentance and the transformation or whatever it affects that comes out of self-examination prepares us to be good and helpful assessors of our neighbors. And we're going to get to chapter 18 in a little while in Matthew. If we were to read all the way through Matthew, chapter 18 is going to have a confrontation model where if somebody sins against you, you go and you confront. And if they say, oh, I'm sorry, then the whole business is over and you've made reconciliation. But if not, you take a couple people. And if not that, you go put them in front of the church. If you remember that, there is an assessment of a neighbor. Here it's in 18, it is somebody who has harmed me. I'm beholden to bring that to bear on that person, to confront, which is a form of judgment, right? It's a form of, pardon me, of identification of something that person has done wrong. Now, it doesn't tell me to chase them down if they've done it to somebody else. But the question in play is, are we called to judge people in that regard? And if so, then judging is not generally forbidden. Condemnation is forbidden, if Warren Carter is right. Do you see the difference? And it's not something that we notice that often, that the end point of the parable is to make us see clearly, because now we've removed the things that are getting in the way of that to help our brother or sister, right? I landed at Princeton Seminary, and I was so fired up to be in this Christian community of fellow learners when I was a first-year student at Princeton Seminary. I was doing an MDiv, and I lived on this great dorm floor with great guys. And